All right, I think we are live. Welcome, everybody, to the Great Metal Podcast, episode 84. You are here with Shredmaster Scott and the Metal Evangelist. Just Pete is hanging out in Hogwarts today. He decided to go to Hogwarts of all the places he could have gone.
Hogwarts.
Yes. So we're gonna bring the fire to you guys today. And hopefully Pete can catch up. Like Matt Corns. Matt Corns says he's always busy at this time, but he always catches up. So, all right. So today we thought it would be interesting to take a dive into one of our favorite subjects. What influences metal, right? And I think, if you ask a lot of people, particularly non-metalheads, who's the most influential person in metal? A lot of people would probably say like Satan, I mean, there's no question. The occult is pretty influential in metal. Ozzy even had the song Mr. Crowley, Aleister Crowley there. But as it turns out,
great song.
When you really dive into things, it turns out there's one guy that is quite a bit more influential in terms of naming schemes and themes and all this kind of stuff. I'll give you a hint. There's a picture of him. Oh, who is this? Who is this? Smoking his pipe.
Who is that?
Oh, so you got to stick around.
That's the most influential guy in metal?
Most influential guy in metal. I'm going to make the claim. So you got to stick around for the hot take if you want to find out who it is, if you didn't recognize him from his picture. So, but first, we've got some news. There is a lot of stuff going on in the metal community right now. And so we got to talk about a few things. First up is, of course, there's this band, maybe you've heard of them, Metallica, and they just started their world tour, the Whirlwind World Tour. And kicked
is that
it off.
What it's called? The Whirlwind World Tour?
Oh, no. I just said that. It's a whirlwind. But so they started, I think it was last night or the night before, there was their kickoff show in Amsterdam. And and they had an opening on their, the opening lineup. And who did they ask to play? Floor Jansen.
Of all
Floor
people.
Jansen.
It's a great choice. I mean, I don't know how Papa Het heard of Floor in the first place, but I saw pictures of them like talking backstage. So this has been in the works for a while.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Floor deserves it. Such an incredible singer.
I read an article. He was at a concert of Nightwish one time, and he'd like never heard Nightwish before. And he was just like, holy crap, that's really good. And that singer's amazing. Yeah, and so he asked.
So is she going on tour with Metallica or just did the Amsterdam show?
I think it was just opening at the Amsterdam show, and of course she has her solo project out right now called Paragon, and so she's been touring for that along with Nightwish. And so anyway, I got a clip
I would
here.
Drop that and go tour with Metallica. Just my own for. Well, hire me as your manager for more good advice.
I think Metallica's planning on picking up a bunch of different people. They're doing this interesting thing.
Right.
Yeah. But let's check out a clip here of Floor. This is her off of her solo album called Face Your Demons at the show the other night.
I'm floored after that performance.
Nice.
Sorry, Luke. Sorry about that.
So Floor said, so there was 70, it's a capacity of 71,000 people. She said it was the biggest crowd she's played to. I think that's what she said.
Crazy.
And it's interesting later in some of the other clips, like, you can tell everybody's there for Metallica. Floor's like pregnant. You
Yeah, I
know,
was gonna
she's up
say, it looks
there.
like she's got a bun in the oven there. This is this number 2?
Number 2 or 3.
Okay.
And so but like a lot that like it shows the crowd and they're all just like they're on their phones and everything, and it's kind of ridiculous. But hopefully this opened up some doors
Well, that's
and
the
before it
thing
takes
is
it to the next level.
it's too bad she's not going on tour with them because the world would know her name at that point. I mean, it'd be a great move for her.
Oh, for
But
sure.
I mean,
And
I
so
mean, 71,000. She probably wasn't in front of the full 71 grand, but yeah, that's
no,
a great exposure.
great exposure. But so what Metallica's doing, I read this article with Lars, and they're doing what they're calling no repeat weekends. And so the idea is that they play 2 different set lists, like one on a Friday and one on a Saturday or a Sunday.
Yeah.
And they're completely different. They don't repeat any of the songs from one set list to the other set list. And
So
Lars is
this
talking
is
about
like what Dream Theater used to do, right? I don't know if they still do that. I don't know how many bands do this in general, but I mean, it's a great idea.
A lot of bands outside of pop do this, right? This is not a new. Lars was talking about how like this is like such a revolutionary idea. Some guy, he learned it from some guy a couple years ago, and it's like,
Stop it, Lars! You're killing us.
Nice try on being original, but anyway, I love this. It was Dream Theater used to do this, and it was great because you could go see them several times and you'd get a different flavor every single time. It kind of sucks in some ways. Yeah. Because it's like, oh, if I can't wait for them to play Count of Tuscany, and then they don't at the show you're at, they play it the next night. You're like, oh crap, but it's great. It's a great strategy just to keep things fresh. And then everybody feels like, they got a unique experience,
Luke, are you getting static on your end? I'm getting like a little static coming through. Is that just me?
Well, it might be me, but you don't have any static coming through on my end.
Okay. I don't know if that's coming through at all, but yeah, we'll just keep powering through, do the best we can here. I don't know if that's on my end or not, but I can try unplugging my mic.
Anybody watching, let us know if you can understand what's happening. I've seen a couple people come in and leave, and they might be leaving because of static. So
I don't know, but you're not hearing anything.
I'm not hearing anything. You're coming through crystal clear, Shred.
Okay, good. It might just be me then.
Yeah, maybe. If nothing else, it'll record the show and it'll be posted afterwards, and people can watch it.
Yeah. So anyway, what were you saying?
Well, no, it's just like this idea of having a unique experience at a show. I've gone to shows before, like 2 shows in the same tour, and it's the exact same set list. They say the exact same things in between songs. And then it's like, why go a second time?
Right. No, yeah. I like it. I'm totally in support of this. I don't know if Megadeth is cool enough to do the same thing. I know they just went out on tour as well. They just started their tour. Megadave, can you pull off the 2 set list strategy? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the catalog for it. It's just a matter of, it can be intimidating to go and learn, 50 songs instead of 25, Yeah,
you need enough songs to be able to pull that off.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, like everybody's touring right now. We were just discussing this before the show. Dream Theater is playing the Budokan in Tokyo. Avenged Sevenfold, I think you mentioned, is about to go out. So it is the season. 'Tis the season for metal shows.
Yes.
I mean, we went to a metal show recently. Is that in the show at all? Talking about our experience of metal shows?
Oh,
I guess just shows in general.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but shows like the concert going experience kind of sucks these days. Like just from the data mining gouging you get, all the taxes and fees, you got to sign up for these special apps. And it's just like, taking all your privacy. You get in the venue and then people are like spilling beer on you. And I'm not personally a mosher. I don't think Luke is either. I just want to watch the show and take it in, and then people are like beating you up, and you're like, I didn't sign up for this. Can I just go backstage and watch from the side?
No, it's
Brutal.
true. By like the second elbow in my back, I was like, okay, I'm ready for this show to be over. It's
Yeah.
tough, but yeah. So, well, speaking of beer, so Iron Maiden has, they've released quite a few beers, throughout the last 10 years or so. And
Luke,
so,
I'm gonna leave the show and come back because the static is just out of control. It doesn't seem to be coming through as I'm
oh
listening
yeah.
to it. So it must be on my end. Let me just
Okay.
come
If you want
back
to
in.
bounce out, I'll finish the news.
Okay, cool.
So Iron Maiden, celebrating their 10-year anniversary of releasing their first beer. Bruce is releasing a new one here. And it is let's see, it's an imperial stout, high ABV. This thing could kick you in the face like their music. So any beer fans out there, any Iron Maiden beer fans out there, definitely going to want to pick this one up. Now, hopefully we get Shred back on soon because this next piece of news is really interesting. We've talked a lot about this. Here's Shred. Okay, Shred, are you back?
Sounds better now.
Okay,
Good.
cool.
Good news.
So we were just talking about Bruce Dickinson's new beer.
No way. What?
Imperial Stout.
How did I miss this?
I think it's a 10%er because it's celebrating 10 years of Iron Maiden.
10%?
It's an Iron Maiden 10-year anniversary beer anniversary.
Dude,
so
we got to try that.
Yeah, I'm going to take a look for it next time I hit up Bevmo.
He also could have done 6.66% in honor of Number of the Beast. But
that's true.
10% is a hefty beverage.
Yeah, there was an X on it. So I'm assuming that meant 10%, but I could be wrong. So
that'd be a heavy beer.
The other big piece of news is Corey Taylor of Slipknot just announced that he's starting his own record label. Now, we've talked a lot about, how record labels are dead and all this kind of stuff.
That kind of sounds like something you would do in 1992 or 1995.
Yeah.
Okay, Corey.
Well,
think,
bro? So I mean, here's the thing. It's actually interesting reading this article. I can't remember who interviewed him, but he's talking about how he says, I'm really excited. This is the first major step in something that I've been building towards for a long time, probably since the 90s, not only for my solo career, but trying to help do my part to bolster the next generation of hard and heavy new music. It's just one more notch in the bat where I can break through some walls for people. So what he sees a record label doing is getting rid of some of the barriers to entry, right? Now, I'm not sure what barriers to entry exist now that we have the internet, with the exception of if you have a big name pushing you, they have a much bigger platform, right? So it's more like a record label is like an ad agency, maybe.
Right. I mean, like Nuclear Blast, and I see other labels that are similar, getting a lot of traction. When they put out a band's video, if the video is well done, then that can rack up millions of views. There isn't really barriers of entry anymore, like you hinted at. What it comes down to is, are you able to generate internal momentum for your project? And you're going to have to conceptualize of more than just, playing your instrument, right? You have to think about things like, how do you grow the business, getting your Instagram page going, talking to club promoters to get gigs, designing a line of merch. That kind of stuff falls outside of the domain of what most musicians are comfortable with. So it's a new era. Record labels can, I don't even know if they really do that kind of stuff anymore. I think they look for, bands that have energy going already, you're at critical mass and you're producing some kind of explosion, in the scene. And then they're like, okay, maybe we can help facilitate even further growth for you. But I don't know. I mean, like you can take things really far on your own. And let's be clear, you don't actually need a label support at all these days to make it. But it depends on like just how much go juice you have and how much you're able to kind of expand your perspective and look at more than just, your own little part, and think about the business as a whole. A band is a business. So if you can conceive of it on that level, then yeah, you don't need a label.
Well, so Stagecoach, the country music festival, is going on right here across the street from me. And last night
you
was
just been in like 3 weeks in a row, Luke. You're just getting pummeled with these festivals.
Two weekends of Coachella, weekend of Stagecoach, and then in October will be Power Trip. Yes. But anyway, so the headliner last night was a guy named Kane Brown. I don't really know him, but he was saying that you can hear him from you sit outside, you can just hear everything they say. And he was saying that he, like 5 or 6 years ago, he was totally unknown and he was doing country music covers on Facebook, not on YouTube, on Facebook. Okay. And he said that he started getting so many views that then he started releasing his original material. Now he's like a headliner at one of the biggest country music festivals in the country. So yeah, I mean, you don't need a record label. They might help. I don't know.
The hardest thing for people is just to produce content. So this guy you said was doing live streams on Facebook. He was producing something. If you're not able to, make something happen, like you have to be able to produce some kind of content. And that really is a barrier of entry of some sort. Like if you're not able to do that, then yeah, having a career in the music industry is going to be a struggle. In fact, having any kind of career will be a struggle. Go work at McDonald's.
Right. A record label is not going to write your music, record your music, publish your music. It's not going to do it all for you, for sure.
Yeah. And that's really what people, I think, are looking for oftentimes. It's just for someone else to do their work for them. You do it for me.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So anyway, Corey, best of luck to Corey Taylor, and hopefully he can find some new metal talent and get it out there into the mainstream, because the more metal, mo better. That's our motto around here.
Yeah, let's get that on a shirt. Metal, mo better.
Okay, it is time for
hot take.
The hot take. Here we go. Are you guys ready? Are you ready to learn who this man is? The most influential man, the man who has had more influence on metal bands and the metal scene than anybody else in the world. J.R.R. Tolkien. Here we go, man. Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, The Silmarillion. If you want to go down the rabbit hole, just Google Tolkien metal. There's an entire subgenre of bands that literally just play metal based on Tolkien's work.
Can you put up that meme while we do the hot take?
Well, are you talking about this one?
It's just like in front of us. We can't make it smaller, maybe, huh?
I don't know how to add it to its own window. But when
you love metal just as much as you love Lord of the Rings, Mordorhead.
It's so true, dude. It's so true.
Lemmy is turning over in his grave right now. You're welcome, Lemmy.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, like, here's the thing. It's like, because we all know, like, from I don't know what year Lord of the Rings was published. I should have looked this up, but it was maybe in like the 50s or 60s or something. Yeah, in the 50s. So I think
he was like putting it together since the 30s or something.
Yeah, so, it was a long time.
Yeah, I mean, like masterworks like that, it's like a life's work.
Yeah. But I mean, there are literally hundreds and hundreds of bands, particularly in metal, that either name themselves out after the people, places, and things of Lord of the Rings, or have themes from it or reference it or whatever. Even outside of metal, I mean, if you go to like Led Zeppelin, right? They have like 5 or 6 songs, like the Battle of Evermore is specifically from the Lord of the Rings. Ramble On, I guess, is about their journey through the Lord of the Rings. So, and if take it all the way back to the beginnings of metal, Black Sabbath. Here's a clip of the song "The Wizard," which Geezer Butler said was inspired. He was reading the Lord of the Rings and he got inspired by Gandalf and he wrote "The Wizard."
Now, it's amazing. Like, it's just endless metal content, right? Great stories.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, a lot of people have also surmised that The Wizard is about a drug dealer, but we'll just go with what Butler said. It's about Gandalf.
It could probably go both ways.
Yeah. Yes, it could probably go both ways. But like,
why are there no pop songs about Lord of the Rings, or are there? I mean, like,
not really.
Obviously, we talk about like things like WAP, that's
right.
That's a general theme in pop music, but we don't tend to ever get into like these deep, enriching stories, do we?
No, pop sings about love and love lost. That's what it primarily sings about.
Primal human nature is what it is.
Yeah. But, and so then, I mean, if you look at like Rush, they had a song called Rivendell, right? About the Elvish city. So, you have all of this stuff, even going all the way back to, right after the book is released, and metal's coming into its thing, but it continues. It continues throughout all of metal, even very popular metal. For instance, Megadeth has a song called "This Day We Fight," which was on Endgame. And it's about the speech that Aragorn gives at the Black Gate. So let's see if we can get that reference.
Whoa.
Lost to another war-torn, faraway battlefields. Wherein lies a demonic enemy horde. On this day, I desire to anoint my face. Engaging them in the mode of power and war.
Dave decided to anoint his fists. I like that.
Yeah.
Anoint his fists with war.
Yeah. So Dave Mustaine is
even Lord Dave gets into the Lord of the Rings. That's incredible. Maybe I should read this book. Have you read? Like, I mean, we've all watched the movies, right?
Well, I mean, I read it when I was a kid. I read all of them, loved them, but haven't read them in a long time.
How many pages? Over 666 pages, I would imagine.
Well, all of them together, maybe.
There's 3. How many books?
There's 1 Hobbit. There's 3 Lord of the Rings.
So,
and then, but then, I mean, he's got a lot of other stuff. The Silmarillion.
That's sort of in that whole
Unfinished Tales. Okay. Yeah, it all takes place in Middle Earth. Now, Metallica, you might be saying, okay, well, Dave dives deep, but does Papa Het dive deep? Well, so as it turns out, it's very.
Does Dave dive?
Dave, do you dive deep? It's so Metallica. There is a lot of theory, but it's not conclusive that they sing any songs about Lord of the Rings. However, I did find a blogger who, upon their analysis, has made this chart. So these different songs are
What?
about these different characters.
Stop it.
So I'm not going to go through all these, but some of them make sense. Like, Seek and Destroy is about the ring wraiths. For Whom the Bell Tolls is the elves at the Battle of Helm's Deep. Until It Sleeps is about Frodo. Hero of the Day, Samwise Gamgee. So, I mean, I don't know.
This guy's so obsessed with Lord of the Rings, he's reading into shit.
Yeah. Well, I do know Until It Sleeps, I think Hetfield said is about cancer. It was like about his mom getting cancer or something. Okay. So that one's probably not about about Frodo.
Yeah,
maybe in some parallel universe.
I've never heard of Pop Het doing a Lord of the Rings thing. He does write about interesting stories, though. He writes about that like horror novelist from the 20th century.
H.P. Lovecraft.
H.P. Lovecraft. Yeah, he loves that guy. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff. It seems like if you're going to be a good songwriter, you need to read, essentially, right? You have to have something interesting to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you need to relate to humanity, and how do you do that? It's through story. And so you need to consume a lot of stories.
You need to understand these archetypes and have insight. It's really hard. Like when I make memes, I realize how difficult it is. First, you have to have like a good picture that relates to people, but then your tagline, if that's off, it ruins the whole thing. You have to be able to kind of tap into that collective unconsciousness. That we're all feeling.
Yes. Find the fundamental truths, right?
Yeah.
Now when going back to Tolkien and metal, you might say, okay, Luke, that, it's pretty surface stuff. Well, so here's the thing. Interestingly enough, it seems that the more extreme you go in metal, the more influence that Tolkien has. So black metal is absurdly littered with Lord of the Rings references. I would venture to say that probably somewhere around 25 to 30% of all black metal names, band names, are from Lord of the Rings. So Burzum, that's Burzum is it's on the ring. It's the Elvish language. It means darkness. Gorgoroth, Isengard, Amon Amarth. These are all from Lord of the Rings. Amon Amarth is the name of Mount Doom in Lord of the Rings, and here's them singing about it.
Thunder breaks the silence. All 500 men assemble ashore, gazing through the misty rain. Like a mountain, not a mile away, so dark and silent it stands there. The mighty armor of Earth, reaching for the cloud skies, so grim and fearful in mind.
Here I thought they were just singing about WAP juice this whole time, but it was going way deeper.
I thought WAP juice too. Amon Amarth, WAP juice. I mean, sounds like it's right.
Yeah. How do we make this stuff penetrate popular culture, right? I mean, it's such a based thing. And Lord of the Rings is still popular, right? I mean, I guess the last thing we had was Peter Jackson's take on it, right? That was like early 2000s.
No. Amazon just released the Lord of the Rings. It was called like The Power of the Rings or something.
Oh, really?
It's based on, it takes place in Middle Earth. It's loosely based on some of the stories in the Silmarillion.
This is so good for us to learn about too. This is a good segment, Luke. The entire internet, of course, has made a shift towards short form content recently, and now we're finding that no one can run a business, and Facebook's losing a ton of money on short form content. And it's like this deeper stuff, that you get with Lord of the Rings and maybe Greek mythology, and this stuff. It's classic stuff that never dies, right? And
yeah,
it's never a bad thing to invest in learning about this because even though there's trends on the internet that come and go, things like this with deeper, richer value, are going to stick around. So write songs about it, make content about this shit. I mean, WAP juice. I probably won't be able to wear this shirt in like 2 years. No one's going to get the joke.
Right. That's true. Well, and the key is really like, take it and do something new with it. Make it your own, add your spin to it. Cause it's like, look, Tolkien didn't invent elves. He didn't invent orcs. I mean, these were all things that existed in literature for a long time before Tolkien, but then he did his own thing with it, created this own world with those elements, and it became this huge thing.
Does he talk about sex? He should have done a little bit more with sex, maybe, just to make things generally more appealing, but
there were some romances, Aragorn and the one elf chick. I don't remember her name. But I don't know if they were like, full on banging all the time.
Yep.
In the movie played by Liv Tyler. Yes. Yeah. So
Steven Tyler, Aerosmith's daughter.
Yeah. So that, there are maybe possibly thousands of songs written about Lord of the Rings stuff. But then there's a whole nother level. Blind Guardian, the power metal band, Hansi Kirsch. He is, a huge fan, and to the point where they released an entire album called Nightfall in Middle Earth. And it's all about the Lord of the Rings series. Here's a clip of Nightfall.
Man, that dude's voice, like he's got something special. Like he hits this power band when he gets to a certain volume, and it just just explodes at that point. That's such a cool sounding voice. I don't know. Did you listen to that whole record? Was it?
I have not heard the whole record. No,
I feel like that could be over the top, but
I mean, power metal. I mean, here's the thing. Here's the meme for it. Tolkien, black metal fans and power metal fans. High fantasy goes so well with power metal because power metal is all about dragons and castles and, medieval stuff. And so is high fantasy. And so it makes sense that, bands like Rhapsody and, Blind Guardian have been really heavily influenced by this. It comes out in their music for sure. Mm-hmm. In the case of Blind Guardian, in the lyrics as well. Now there's one further level. There is a whole nother level. This is a subgenre of black metal called Tolkien metal. And the pinnacle of this is the band, the band Summoning. Their entire discography, and they've got like 7 or 8, 9 albums. Everything is about Lord of the Rings. And so a lot of their lyrics are literally words taken from the novel. Let's check out
into the nerd lore domains at this point.
Oh yeah. So this is called The Legend of the Master Ring.
That's pretty dark.
In true black metal fashion, the recording quality is just so subpar.
That was garage band level. What was that band's name?
Summoning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably have negative 2 followers on Instagram.
They've been around a long time.
Really don't have an Instagram account.
I have no idea, but they love, and I mean love, Tolkien, right?
Yeah.
That's what they do. is they make music based on Tolkien's world.
That's extreme. I mean, if you're trying to get like new fans and followers, they've got to, be so down with J.R.R.
Yeah. Well, that's like this guy. He wants to get into Blind Guardian, doesn't have time to read all of Tolkien's books.
Exactly.
I mean,
there has to be, I don't know. Yeah. It's like, cause metal is such a deep thing. I'm interested in how to make it more accessible, cause it's such a good thing too. So, and typically bands get to a point in their career where they realize they're not going to grow anymore unless they can figure out how to become more commercial. I remember, when Dream Theater did this with Falling Into Infinity back in the 90s, that was around the same time that Metallica was doing it with the Loads. Because you hit this wall where you're like, okay, yes, we have the Nerd Lords now, but if we want to, grow beyond that and penetrate the larger domain of society, how do we make something more accessible that's more commercial, a little bit less effort on the consumer's end? So that's just something we, as metalheads always have to be thinking about.
That's right. And I mean, Nightwish has a song called Elven Path, which is about Lord of the Rings. Sabaton has a song called Shadows about Lord of the Rings. So, it's finding its way into mainstream, and it might work in reverse too, right? Somebody that's not familiar with metal, but is familiar with Lord of the Rings might get into some metal because they're tying these two different worlds together. Right.
Right.
And so this like cross media, whatever you want to call this, marriage of different medias, can work in both ways. It can draw fans from one side or the other. But in terms of like, how do you make metal more accessible and popular? That is what we are trying to do. That's what we're all trying to do. We need to get there.
That's correct. Metal evangelism. That's the whole point.
So on that topic, here we go. Oh, there's no music. There's supposed to be music to that, but all right. Well, anyway, the featured band of the day. You need to hear this. So, this band, Elven King, you would think would be inspired by Lord of the Rings, and they happen to be one of the only bands that is not inspired directly by Lord of the Rings, which is super weird. But their album just dropped 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago. Elven King, they're an Italian folk metal band. They get in some really cool stuff. Here is a clip of one of their new tracks. It's called Bride of the Night.
They kind of have like a black metal look, but they sound way more commercial than that.
So they're not so much black metal. They'd be more like, it's more like war paint than corpse paint. They sing a lot about, not necessarily Viking stuff, but that type of folklore. A lot of time, they have a lot of like acoustic stuff with, violins and all this kind of stuff. They're really good.
It sounds good. It looks good too, which is important, right? I mean,
they had a budget.
Yeah. And they put together a video. I mean, Metallica did a video for every single song on the new record, right? 72 seasons.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're the only band that's ever done that. But they really, and they're 60 years old, right? And they're the ones who really get this idea that you have to have a visual component to every auditory experience that you have, right? Because with YouTube and other platforms, right, that just helps your content go further.
That's right.
So if I was Corey Taylor or something, with my label, and I saw this band, Elven King, And I'm like, okay, they understand how to put a video together and they've got a good sound. I would be much closer to signing an act like that, right? Put your 666 signature on the line. Give me your soul, bro. We could do something.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right. You have to bring some skills and some talent. And then if you need help developing that, that's great. But you got to bring something. And I love a lot of this folk metal stuff. So Elven King's new album, go out and pick it up. If you're into folk metal, or even if you're not, pick it up and support the metal community.
Email us at the Great Metal Podcast at gmail.com. I think that's what it is. And
yes,
because we're always trying to find new hot bands, give us your take. Maybe about some groups that we don't, that could be featured in the segment. And let's talk. Let's talk about metal.
Let's do it. And we're on Instagram, and you can always comment here on these videos. And we're going to be launching a Twitter account here soon, which will get lit as I lay down some very controversial opinions about all kinds of stuff. Get lit on Twit.
That's it right there. That's the tagline. Okay. Get yourself lit on Twit.
All right, guys, let us know, what is your favorite Tolkien reference in the metal that you listen to, because it's there, it's in there, and we want to hear what your favorite one is.
I honestly didn't know it went this deep. This is nuts, Luke.
Unbelievably deep. So, all right, guys, until next time, remember that the world ends with you, so keep it metal.